Your payroll is one of the biggest expenses in a business, usually outside of rent and equipment. And if you are not managing that payroll and developing your team so that payroll is an investment versus an expense, your business, your profit is really going to be suffering. You work hard in your business. On the Profit by Design podcast, we ask the big question. What has your business done for you lately? Hi, I'm Dr. Sabrina Starling. I'm the business psychologist, the author of the 4-Week Vacation and the How to Hire the Best series, as well as the founder of Tap the Potential, where we coach entrepreneurs like you to design sustainably profitable businesses that give you more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. Because after all, we believe work supports life, not the other way around. Weekly on the Profit by Design podcast, we bring you tips, tools, and strategies from our own experiences and from the experiences of our guests who are entrepreneurial thought leaders and real life entrepreneurs, all to support you in making intentionally profitable and sustainable business decisions to live the lifestyle you desire. Today, we are talking about how to 10x your profit with A players on your team. This is entirely possible. And at Tap the Potential, we are known for getting our clients spectacular results, producing more than a 3-to-1 return on investment in the coaching program with us in our Better Business, Better Life program. And there's so many ways that we do that for our clients through strategy using the Tap the Potential solution. So today I thought, wouldn't it be fun to really break this down and look at one key piece of the strategy that relates to how we get our clients more than a 3-to-1 return on their investment in coaching with us. And that is by teaching them how to hire A players, put them in the right seats, doing the right work in the business. And that's a big piece of how you absolutely can 10x your profit in the year ahead. So as we dive into that, I just want to say, if you haven't signed up yet for the How to Hire the Best course, be sure to head on over to tapthepotential.com/course and get signed up. We are starting the course very soon, and the registration deadline is Thursday, January 26th. So get over there, get signed up. You don't want to miss out on this. And the reason you don't want to miss out on this is because in the How to Hire the Best course, I am teaching you what you need to know to attract A players in today's business environment. The majority of business owners are using outdated hiring practices that are setting you up to mishire 75% of the time. In the How to Hire the Best course, I teach you the right way to hire to get the A players that you need on your team so that your odds of hiring right go from 25% up to 75 to 90%, so that every time you hire, you're hiring up and getting better and better quality team members. That's a key piece of what I'm teaching you here today on the podcast. And so I want to make sure after you hear what I shared with you today for strategy of how you can 10x your profit with A players, that you get the how to. And that's in the How to Hire the Best course. So head on over to tapthepotential.com/course so you sign up and don't miss out on this opportunity to really build the system in place in your business that you need to hire A players. Okay, so let's dive in to really understanding when you have A players on your team, what they can do to impact revenue and profit. And at Tap the Potential, we are all about profitable revenue. Not all revenue that comes into the business is profitable. In fact, a lot of the revenue that comes into a business can be costing the business more over time. So we're all about bringing in profitable revenue. And your A players are key to doing that. And it's really key that you have a clearly defined sweet spot as you are hiring to make sure that you have that profitable revenue happening in your business. So I want to talk about what A players can do. So A players are 900 to 1,200% more productive than warm bodies in your business. 900 to 1,200% more productive than warm bodies. So when you really understand this, You need to understand that A players are the individuals who think on their own. They want to solve problems. They're coming up with ideas and solutions. They're good communicators. They're good team players. So these are not individuals on your team who are out for themselves and they're just constantly striving to make things better for themselves, but ignoring the team. They're good team players. They want to be a part of a team. And so when you have A players, one of the reasons that they are 900 to 1200% more productive than warm bodies is understanding that your warm bodies, you're lucky if you're getting 2 days of work out of them in a 5-day work week. So when you're hanging on to team members because you feel like, well, I need somebody around to do some of the work, really those individuals, those warm bodies on your payroll are probably costing you significantly, and they're costing you a lot more than just their paycheck. So when you shift and you learn how to hire the best and how to hire the right A players for what you need in the business, you're learning how to put the right person in the right seat, and you're hiring for alignment with immutable laws in the company. So you know that they're going to fit really well within the culture. And one of the ways that we get these spectacular results out of A players is we are very thoughtful in the hiring process, and we hire with the end in mind. And so that means before you go to hire, you're taking the time to think through, if that person that I'm hiring can only get one thing done for me in a given day or a given week, what is the one key result that I need from that individual? As you define that key result, and I encourage you to make it measurable, as you define that key result, that is going to lead you to know what you need to hire for. So you want to hire the person who has the personality strengths to deliver that key result exceptionally well day in and day out in the business. So you're hiring with attention to strengths, and you're putting that person, that A player, in a seat with a clearly defined result that you want them to deliver on. And you want to think about, what could an A player in this role really do? What kind of results could I expect of them at the end of year one? And when you're thinking that through, you're really having to step away from, if you've had a lot of warm bodies in your business, you have probably really over time lowered your expectations of what your team members can do for you in the business. And I just want you to know, once you learn how to hire A players and you get 1, 2, 3 or more on your team, be prepared. Like, buckle up, because they go fast, and you as a leader have to learn how to go fast to stay a few steps ahead of them. Because if you don't stay ahead and you don't guide the vision and you don't put some parameters in place around, here's our sweet spot, here's what needs to be happening to be profitable, they're going to have all kinds of ideas, and you're going to have all these things coming at you because they want to implement. And they need to have some parameters, knowing what your vision is, knowing the immutable laws, knowing the sweet spot of the business, so that you're ensuring and they're ensuring that all the ideas and innovation that they're coming up with align with where the business is headed and where you're going. So that's what I mean when I say you as a leader need to be prepared. If you don't have that in place as you're bringing A players onto your team, there's no way they're going to 10x your profit. They're going to get you going in all kinds of different directions. So one of the things that we're known for in our Better Business, Better Life program is teaching business owners how to be strong leaders of teams of A players. It's a different kind of leadership when you're leading A players than when you're leading warm bodies. Warm bodies need a lot of hand holding. You probably have learned some bad micromanaging because they've taught you how to treat them. They've taught you that they need a lot of babysitting, a lot of follow up, and you have to check in on them all the time. Not so much A players. A players, you tell them what's expected. You might have to remind them a few times, and then they're off to the races with it. And so if you have bad micromanaging habits because you've been dealing with a lot of warm bodies, in our Better Business, Better Life program, we really teach you how to be the leader that the A players on your team need you to be, so that you really can 10x your profit very quickly with that team of A players. So you may be thinking, well, I can't afford to hire A players, Dr. Sabrina. And I want to challenge that line of thinking, because I really believe you can't afford not to hire A players, if you continue to use outdated hiring practices that are ineffective, that are causing you to mishire 75% of the time, that's where your profit is going. Your payroll is one of the biggest expenses in a business, usually outside of rent and equipment. And if you are not managing that payroll and developing your team so that payroll is an investment versus an expense, your business, your profit is really going to be suffering. And so when you have warm bodies on your payroll and you say, well, I just kind of have to get by with the team that I have, and I wish I could hire an A player, but I can't afford that. Well, if you look at what you're currently paying your warm bodies and you let a couple of warm bodies go, not only are you freeing up what you're paying them on payroll so that you could apply it to an A player, you're also getting rid of mistakes, rework, upset customers that you've lost or that you are losing because of the warm bodies on your team. And what I love about what we teach in the Better Business, Better Life program using the Tap the Potential solution is the awareness that when you have a clearly defined sweet spot in the business, you don't need as many team members as you think you need. So you define the sweet spot in the business. You identify who are those top clients and customers that are responsible for 80% of the revenue. And that's usually around 20% that are responsible for 80% of the revenue. And then you look at, of those clients and customers, which ones are the most profitable? Not just which ones bring in the most revenue, but which ones are the most profitable. And you really start to build your business around that ideal client profile, that psychographic and demographic. And that allows you to let go of a lot of the difficult clients and customers that you have. And I've been teaching the Better Business, Better Life Jumpstart this week, and I've been walking through a calculation that I think is really eye-opening for most business owners. So once you become aware and pay attention to that 20% of your revenue is coming from 80% of your clients and customers, that bottom 20% of the revenue that's coming from 80% of your clients and customers, when you really start to think about that 80% of your clients and customers are really only contributing 20% of the revenue, that's like, oh my gosh, we have been so busy on this team taking care of all these clients and customers that are only making a very minor contribution to our overall revenue. And so when you tune into the 20% of your clients and customers that are responsible for 80% of the revenue, all of a sudden you realize you don't need to work so hard to take care of the bottom 20% of the bottom 20% of your clients and customers, or the bottom 80% of your clients and customers are only responsible for 20% of the revenue. Sorry, I'm getting all the math going in my head here. And if you made a drastic decision and you decided, you know what, I'm going to drop those 80% of the clients and customers that are only responsible for 20% of the revenue. And then you decided, I'm going to drop them, and then it's going to free up our time. So we're going to really focus on taking better and better care of our top clients that are responsible for 80% of the revenue. And we're going to use what we know about them to attract more clients like them to the business. And if you were to do that, and you set a modest goal to increase the revenue from your top 20% clients that are responsible for 80% of the revenue, if you increase the revenue that you receive from them over the course of the year by 25%, you will replace the revenue that you lose from the 80% of your clients and customers that are only responsible for 20% of the revenue. So you'll replace that 20% of the revenue. So if you have $1 million business, that means that 20% of your clients and customers are responsible for $800,000 of the revenue. And that also means that 80% of your clients and customers in that business are only responsible for $200,000. So it's that 80% that you could drop. And then you focus on your top 20%, you increase revenue by innovating and serving them better. And you increase that by 25% over the next year and also attracting more like them, then you're going to replace the revenue that you lost from dropping 80% of your clients and customers. So this has significant implications, not just for freeing up your time, but also for freeing up your team's time. So when I say you can probably let go of a lot of your warm bodies, if you have a clearly defined sweet spot, you don't need as many team members. And a lot of times business owners will hire simply because they find themselves and their teams very busy, and you feel like your capacity is stretched. And so you have an overweight business because you've accepted work from a variety of clients and customers with a variety of needs. And that's why you find yourself running out and scrambling and hiring people who end up being warm bodies on your team. You're making these rapid hiring decisions in a pinch, and they're not paying off. They're keeping you in the survival trap. And so when we turn this around and we really clarify what is the sweet spot of this business, and if we're going to 10x the sweet spot or 100x the sweet spot of the business over the next few years, what roles do we actually need in this business to serve the sweet spot of the business as it's being 10x'd or 100x'd over the next few years? And then you'll see there are clearly defined roles that you need, and you'll also see the opportunity to let go of those warm body team members. So if you have a team of 5 and maybe 1 or 2 are warm bodies, you're actually able to get rid of 2 of those warm body team members and focus on running the business with your current A players who are on the team. And you'll be surprised. Those A players, you may be thinking, well, I don't want to stretch them really thin. They're already very busy. When you let go of warm bodies, your A players come to you and they say thank you, because those warm bodies have been creating extra work for them. They've been dragging down morale. They've been making the A players question why they work so hard, because they see these warm bodies getting away with not putting in the effort that they're putting in. And so they're often very relieved, and they will rally together and they'll say, all right, let's go. Let's do this. We're going to support you in finding more A players. And in the meantime, we're going to dig in and we're going to do what needs to be done. And so that frees up the opportunity for you to be able to afford to hire A players on your team. So say you let go of 2 warm bodies, you can easily hire an A player at that point, and you'll probably be more efficient in your business because A players can be 900 to 1200% more productive than warm bodies. But the other thing that you need to be fully aware of in your hiring so that you really have this 10x impact on profit through hiring A players is you can't just hire an A player for a poorly defined role. And a lot of business owners make this mistake. You need somebody who can do a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this and that. And so you're hiring for multiple skill sets that don't typically coincide in the same person. And if you get a clearly defined role, even if there's not currently enough work right now for a full-time role, you could hire for part-time. A lot of people love the opportunity to work part-time, and especially if they know that they can grow into the role as the role grows. So really narrow down and identify the key results that you need from the person that you're hiring for. Identify those key results. And the question that you really need to come back to is if they can only get one thing done for you in a given day or a given week, what is that one thing that you most need from them? And you want that one thing to make sure it aligns with the sweet spot of your business and with driving profit in the business. If you can't identify how that one thing aligns with the sweet spot and impacts profitability, you shouldn't be hiring someone right now, because you're just going to be creating a loss of profit in the business. This is going to become a non-productive person on your team. So as you do that, and you get really clear on here's the one result that I need, then the next question is, what are the personality strengths needed to deliver this one result exceptionally well, day in and day out? And this is really the key, because when we get to work from our strengths, we're doing work that gives us energy rather than draining our energy. When we're working from our Achilles heels, our energy is being drained off over time. And so a really good example of this is a business owner who I coached probably about 8 or 9 years ago now. And he was younger, he was in college, and he had a food product that he was selling at a kiosk in a local mall. And he was getting a lot of success. He was making a lot of sales, and it was getting to the point where he didn't have enough time to sell the product in the kiosk and make the product in the back of the kiosk. And so he thought, I'm going to hire my friends and I'm going to get them to sell the product while I'm in the back making the product. And he hired some of his friends, and he would go through the spiel at the beginning of their shift every day. He would say, I need you to wave down the traffic in the mall. And I want you to get people's attention, and you need to be bubbly and bright and interactive and loud and flamboyant just to get their attention and get them up to come over and try a sample. So he would do that. His friends would nod along. They say, oh, yeah, I totally understand. And the first 20 minutes or so, they would do great. But by the end of the shift, he was noticing they were nose down on their phone, or sometimes they actually turned their back to the foot traffic going by and they were on their phones. And he said, I don't understand. He said, these friends of mine, they're really good students, Dr. Sabrina. Like, they're really diligent. They work hard in school. And I don't understand how they don't do that for me when I'm telling them what I need them to do. And I said, you know what? I'm really curious. Let me just check in with you on a few things here. I said, are your friends the type of individuals that they enjoy going to parties on the weekends and they like socializing? Or are they more studious and drawn in and they like to play video games and kind of keep to themselves? And he said, I'm the ringleader. I'm the one that has to drag them out of the apartment on the weekends to go out and do fun things. He said, they love to study, they love to play video games, and they're really quiet. And I said, okay, I think I know what's going on here. You have a role that requires someone to be extroverted and to get energy from interacting with people. And you're hiring introverts. And introverts get energy, they refuel through alone time. And being extroverted for long periods of time and being around people drains their batteries. And so their batteries are getting drained. When you're seeing them on their phone, they're actually trying to kind of draw in and recharge so that they can be more extroverted for you. And I said, let's try this. Who are your extroverted friends, the ones that you meet up with at parties? And he said, well, I'm kind of hesitant to hire them because they're not that great of a student. And I said, don't worry about their grades in college. You're not hiring them for their grades in college. You're hiring them because you need them to be extroverted. That's the one result that you need, is you need them to bring in traffic to the kiosk. And he asked a couple of other friends who were more extroverted to work with him. And he came back to our call the next week and he said, this is amazing. He said, I can totally rely on them. I don't have to watch them and supervise them. I don't have to remind them every day that they're supposed to be extroverted. He said, they get more and more extroverted as they go through their shift. And I said, that's it. That's the key result that you need from them. And you have now hired for the personality strength that aligns with that key result, and it allows them to do their job exceptionally well day in and day out. And so you absolutely need to be doing this in your business too. You need to look at what are the key results. In the How to Hire the Best course, I teach you how to use the people map assessment and the different styles in the people map to suss out what personality strengths you need for the particular results that you're trying to achieve, and then how to screen for those personality qualities through your job ad, through your interview, through work samples, so that when you bring them on, you're confident this person has what it takes to be successful in this role and to do it day in and day out. And then after you've hired them and you've put them in a role that aligns with their strengths, you want to have ongoing one-to-one conversations. And the one-to-one meeting is so critical for you to be able to 10x your profit with A players. You cannot hire A players and just turn them loose and say, I know you're going to do a good job, go for it. Because they need feedback. They need not constant supervision, but they need a constant opportunity to check in with you, share what they're learning, share where things are troubling, ask you for support. And a weekly one-to-one meeting creates that opportunity for that to happen. And when you follow how we teach you to do one-to-ones at Tap the Potential, you're structuring your meeting to continually hone and refine their strengths and continually hone and refine what they're doing for you from their strengths so that they're getting better and better at it. So we teach you that you want to start your one-to-ones off by asking about wins and successes that they're having. Why do you want to know about wins and successes? Well, if they're doing something and it's working, don't you want them to do more of it? This is really simple. Just do more of what works and then look for ways to systematize what's working. And You're also having the opportunity in those one-to-ones to ask about where they're challenged and what kind of support they need. And so that you can quickly come in and provide that support. If you don't have a one-to-one and you're not asking what support do they need, they may hang out for weeks on end struggling with something and not reach out and ask for support because they have the perception, and every team member in a small business has this perception of the business owner. They feel like that you are so busy, they don't want to bother you. So if you don't make time, dedicated time on your calendar to have these one-to-ones, your A players won't come to you with their challenges. And so something may drag on for weeks or even months that you could have handled weeks and months ago in a one-to-one meeting and set them up for success to keep them moving forward. So that's where the one-to-ones become so valuable. But another tool that we are implementing on the Tap the Potential team that I want to share with you, because I think you could benefit from it too, is a daily check-in and a daily check-out, particularly during the onboarding and early training part of new team members being in your business. So the daily check-in is them checking in and saying, here's what I'm working on today. And the daily checkout is more of a reflection, like, here's what I accomplished today. Here's what went well. Here's where I struggled. Here's something that I want to work on doing better tomorrow. So that daily reflection really aligns with getting 1% better every single day. And the cumulative effect of getting 1% better every single day for an individual is to be 37% better at the end of the year. That's significant, especially if you have A players who are already doing a good job and they get to be that much better in a year's time. That's going to work for you. That's helping you in the business, and that's impacting your profitability. So the daily reflection, and that daily reflection is also very helpful for you, the business owner, to be looking at, because you're seeing where they're struggling, you're seeing where they need support, and you can quickly intervene. But the most valuable aspect of this daily reflection and checkout is that opportunity to just slow down and reflect and think. Because so many of us just kind of fly through our tasks. We get to the end of the day, we stop, and then we pick up tomorrow, and there's no reflection of what's going on. And when you're doing this daily checkout and the reflection, and you think about what's the most valuable contribution that I made to the team today, that's getting your team members to start thinking about what are their $10,000 an hour activities? What are their opportunities to impact the business? And I want to share with you that we have Leadership Boot Camp, which is for the A players in our clients' businesses to learn how to think like leaders in the business. And one of the things we teach them is the importance of understanding the sweet spot of the business and their role in making the business profitable. And one of the things I really came to appreciate about what we're teaching in Leadership Boot Camp and how impactful it is I had a client's team member in Leadership Boot Camp, and the team member had been getting really frustrated. My client didn't know it. The team member confided this to me, and he said, I'm so frustrated because I have all these great ideas and I'm sharing them all the time with the business leaders. They are not moving them forward. They're not implementing them. And I thought, well, let's go through Leadership Boot Camp. And as this goes along, I'm going to be really curious with you about what might be contributing to that. I really wasn't sure what was going on. And it was about the third week in Leadership Boot Camp where this team member came in and he said, I just had the biggest epiphany. And I said, what is it? And he said, well, I have all these ideas, but they don't pertain to serving our top clients and customers. They're just, how we can help this customer or that customer. And he said, and I realized when I asked for the list of our top customers that I wasn't tuned in at all to the sweet spot of the business. And I was just throwing out these random ideas, and that the business owners, they don't have the capacity to move my ideas forward. And I said, wow, that's a pretty powerful insight. And he said, and then when I started asking them questions about our profitability, I immediately saw what I could do from my role to impact profitability. And I said, really? What did you do? And he said, well, I'm the one who looks at our vendor contracts, and I realized we could renegotiate some of our agreements with vendors, and they would be much more favorable terms for us. And that would actually save us a lot of money. And I said, really? That's very powerful. And he said, yeah. And he said, I already took action on it, and I think I'm going to save us $100,000 over the next quarter. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, I think it'll save us over $100,000 in this next quarter just by renegotiating these contracts. And I said, and if you multiply that out over the year, like, that's $400,000? He said, yeah, I think so. And he said, and I took it back to them and they just said, go, yes, go implement that. They didn't have any hesitation. And he said, that's my big awareness is now that I know what the sweet spot is, and now that I understand how I can impact profitability from my role, I can now be much more dialed in with all the ideas and innovation that I'm putting forward. And he said, and I feel so much, he said, I just feel this sense of relief because I have all these ideas and I feel so much pressure to get them out and share them. He said, but now I have this filter and I can just say, well, does that pertain to the sweet spot? And if it doesn't, then I don't feel the pressure like I need to share it. And he said, but I just feel so much excitement because I actually was able to make an impact and I got to do it myself and I took initiative. And so this is what I mean about learning how to lead A players. These business owners had not articulated their sweet spot yet to their team members. Luckily, as part of going through leadership boot camp, when they sent their team member through, we were able to support them in making sure the sweet spot was getting articulated to these A players. And then this particular team member could see how he could support with innovation. And so in the Tap the Potential solution, step one is to design your business to be sustainably profitable. That's putting profit first in place in the business to create some guardrails and some targets, some allocation percentages to help you have more owners pay and more profit. And then we move to step two, which is niching down with a clearly defined sweet spot in the business. So when you have that sweet spot, that's where you have the opportunity to become more and more profitable. It allows you to see what are the expenses in the business that don't pertain to the sweet spot, including payroll and people you may have hired to serve your worst clients and customers. So that starts to impact profitability as you get that narrowed in. And then step three is to innovate. And then step four is to hire your lean and mighty team. So when you hire your lean and mighty team, you teach them about the sweet spot and then you involve them in innovating for the business. That's where they're going to really have that impact and support you in 10xing your profit with the A players on your team in the next year. So I hope what I've shared with you, this high level strategy of how to start thinking about your business to find the profit. At Tap the Potential, when you book a consultation with us, one of the things we do is a profit audit of your business. And we're really looking for what is the true profit potential that exists within your business currently. And 9 times out of 10, we find that there is way more owners pay and profit existing in the business than the business owner has been able to pay themselves. And so then it becomes a treasure hunt as they become a part of the Better Business, Better Life program of where are we going to find your profit and your owner's pay? Where is that going to come from? It comes from walking through the Tap the Potential solution. It comes from bringing on those A players and teaching them very strategically what to work on in the business to have that impact on your profitability. So now that you have this overall strategy of how to really 10x your profit with A players, I want to invite you to be sure you're registering for the How to Hire the Best course that's coming up Thursday, January 26th. That's the registration deadline for How to Hire the Best. We're going to be kicking off, and this is where I'm going to teach you how to hire the A players, how to get really clear on what you need from them, and how to interview them, how to onboard them, and really look at what you need to do to make sure that you are becoming an employer of choice for the A players that you want to attract on your team. One of the bonuses in the How to Hire the Best course is our Great Place to Work Spotlight at Tap the Potential. So when you go through the How to Hire the Best course and you complete 90% of the Move Forward action steps, you get to be invited onto the Profit by Design podcast. I'll interview you, and we're putting you in our Great Place to Work Spotlight. And I'm doing that because I know through the small steps that you're taking from week to week with us in the How to Hire the Best course, I know that you are doing the things to work on your culture and your leadership to become an employer of choice for the A players that you want to attract on your team. So that's a bonus of the How to Hire the Best course. And something else that is important to know about the How to Hire the Best course is once you register and pay for it, you can go through the course as many times as you like. We don't ever charge you a second time to go through the course. And so if you don't finish your 90% of your Move Forward action steps in the first time you go through the course, you can go through again. You're also able to bring in team members to support you in completing the action steps. We don't charge extra for you to have team members participating with you. And that really is a big boost because you're learning how to delegate key responsibilities in your team. The other thing that people really enjoy, and one of the big benefits that people enjoy in the How to Hire the Best course is I do the live Q&As every week. And we talk about leadership. We talk about hiring, obviously. We talk about team development. We talk about onboarding. We talk about interview questions and how you screen and make sure you're making a good decision. All of that happens in the live Q&As. And sometimes people sign up for the How to Hire the Best course just so they can have that ongoing access and come to the live Q&As and get my support around leadership and hiring as they're growing their business. So head on over to tapthepotential.com/course. I would love to see you in the course and let me support you in hiring your A players and positioning them so that they can help you 10x your profit in the next year. Thanks for being with me today, and I'll see you later.
Thank you for spending time with us today. Join our conversation in the Entrepreneurs Take Your Life Back Facebook community at tapthepotential.com/group. Share your aha moments from today's episode, ask me questions, and join in on the fun with your fellow entrepreneurs on the journey to designing sustainably profitable businesses that give you more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. And finally, share today's episode with a friend if you know a friend who would enjoy it. This is real life business. Keep your chin up, keep moving forward. You got this. If you've gotten value from today's show, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you are a repeat listener of the podcast, know that we greatly appreciate you at Tap the Potential. And to that end, I have a request. Please consider leaving us a review on whatever platform you're listening on. Our reviews help other entrepreneurs like you to find us. Be a part of our movement to help entrepreneurs take your life back from your business.